6 miles per hour and a high of 69. Wednesday will have a high of 70 and sunshine. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job. It's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control. Our family protecting your family.
Panama City, your car is filthy. Your house is a disgrace. But do not fear. Martin Karab is here. At MK Evolution, we terminate dirt, obliterate grime, and crush filth with the force of 1,000 flexing biceps. Full car details so clean, your reflection will say, hasta la vista. Pressure washing so powerful, your neighbors will salute you. Call MK Evolution now at 850-319-2323.
Experience a higher level of service. David Adamson Designer Jewelry has been providing you the very best of fine jewelry and repair in Lynn Haven for over 32 years. David has added Amber Anderson and Russ Clare, names you've known and trusted in PCB for years with your fine jewelry and watch needs. Find that one-of-a-kind engagement ring, that special anniversary gift, or something colorful just for you. Amber and Russ will find it or build it for you. Serving Bay County and beyond in Lynn Haven at the corner of Ohio Avenue and 9th. David Adamson Designer Jewelry.
Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Lucid Stream TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200-plus entertainment and news networks, or watch 10,000 movies on demand, including recent theater releases. Just $42 a month when you use the promo code ESPNNW at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Lucid Stream TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Lucid Stream TV logo.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Powered by Panama City Toyota. Your home for Auburn Tiger basketball. WGSX Lynn Haven. WVLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Evolution Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros, interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Monday morning. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. NFL free agency teams can officially talk to other players starting today. Signings can happen on March 12th. We'll dive through all of the stuff that transpired Friday through the weekend. There's been a lot of things going on really prior to the start of official free agency. But you are listening to The Inside Drive, hopefully on 104.3 here in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can also watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, and follow. That is our 3 social channels where we stream: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can watch it live, watch it after the fact, or not watch it at all. You can just listen on the radio as well. We appreciate you tuning in and following us. And, of course, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do is search up 104.3. That app will pop up in your search screen. All you got to do is download it. When you open it up, you just click the play button, and boom, streaming ESPN Northwest Florida. You want to make sure you have that downloaded as well, because we do a lot of contests and giveaways through the app in addition to just over the air and other fun stuff we do, like the ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge. We're up to 14 people, I saw just a few minutes ago. So, I know we had over 100 last year, and I'm sure we'll get there as it gets a little bit closer, but we still got basically a little less. We got 6 days, really, until the bracket will be ready, and then you've got all the way until Thursday of next week before the first round gets underway. But you can head over to ESPNPC.com. Look for, click on the upper right-hand corner on the red box with the 3 white lines, and then you go to Big Bracket Challenge. Then click here, literally, click here, and it'll take you right to this year's ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge. If you've already got ESPN Fantasy on your phone, it'll take you right there. You click Join Group, and boom, you're in with us, playing with not only staff here at ESPN Northwest Florida, but listeners, and you can also invite anybody to participate in this public bracket, as there is some cash and prizes for first, second, and third. Big shout out to Panama City Toyota, PCB Hobby, and Pepsi for sponsoring the Big Bracket Challenge. Again, just go to ESPNPC.com, find your way to the Big Bracket Challenge, click the Click Here button, and the rest is super easy. While you're over there at ESPNPC.com, you can also scroll down till you see the TV channel icon. That is Lucid Streams TV. As you've heard in our commercials, it's with code ESPNNW. It's only $41.99 a month, over 2,000 streaming channels on demand, including all your pay-per-view events. If you had Lucid Streams TV over the weekend, you were able to watch that UFC fight, and, of course, over 10,000 movies on demand. But, so Lucid Streams TV looking pretty good right now with how expensive YouTube, Hulu, even Netflix is going up as well. So
not even any really good combo packages out there these days.
No, it's kind of like a la carte.
I guess that would just be cable anyways, right?
Yeah, I think that's and it seems like we're getting ever so closer. We had all these streaming services come up over the last 10 years or so, and cable got really expensive, and now these streaming services are creeping up. If I was a cable company, I'd really be thinking about trying to get back into that competition, but I am not, so to each their own. We'll dive into a lot of some NFL action here in the first segment. David, good weekend?
Great weekend, yeah.
Excellent.
A little recharge weekend, man. Yeah. It was nice with the rain the whole time, so I was like, I don't really have anything in particular to do, so I'm just going to chill.
Yep, that's always good. A little rest and relaxation when the rain is falling. We needed some rain, too. Obviously, the pollen was very prevalent, and it'll get prevalent again once it warms up, which it will this week. And then all that yellow will come right back. But that means it's getting ever so closer to Masters Week, because I associate a lot of pollen with springtime in Augusta. The azaleas coming out, the pine trees just with massive balls of pollen that you see explode out of the trees. But somehow Augusta National never has any pollen in their pine trees. It's like they hose them down or something like that. And I wouldn't put
they have guys climbing up there to take the pollen out of the tree.
I wouldn't put it past them. They probably got some kind of like fire truck thing going around spraying all that pollen down, because it's weird. Obviously I worked up in that market for a long time, and all of our pine trees, because that's what happens. They bud, they seed, whatever you call it, and then they become these little pollen balls, and they explode, and you see the pollen move across the sky. But every time I go over to Augusta National, their pine trees wouldn't have them. I don't know. Magic stuff happens inside the gates there of the Augusta National Golf Club. And again, we're getting ever so close to the start of the Masters. But this is a big week in golf. We'll obviously have Keith Fleming on Wednesday, but it is TPC Sawgrass. I know we get a lot of people from this area that'll make the trip just down I-10 to Ponte Vedra Beach to either volunteer or attend the tournament and watch some of the best players in the world compete, but unfortunately Tiger Woods will not be competing in the Players' Championship this weekend. He is still trying to rest up to get ready for Augusta National, but didn't seem to slow him down during the TGL event, although I don't think his team made the playoffs, so I think he's done with that. Quick update.
Not as much walking either.
No, just got to walk from that little grassy tee box to the pretend green that magically changes slopes every time. Pretty crazy stuff going on there. But actually, I would enjoy attending a TGL event. Quick update on the OV race to break Wayne Gretzky's world record. I guess it is a world record, but Wayne Gretzky's NHL record of goals, most of all time. Alex Ovechkin scored last night. He's only now 9 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's record with number 886 scored last night. So kudos to Ovi, and he just needs 9 more to pass Wayne Gretzky. And I still think he's got about 16, 17, maybe even 18 more games to do it. He got that goal last night against the Seattle Kraken. And, of course, he's trying to get it done this season. But the goal watch is underway, and it's something a lot of NHL fans are definitely paying attention to because, it's one of those things. Records are indeed made to be broken, but sometimes you just don't expect it to come so early in certain circumstances. But kudos to Ovi. The odds are now up to 51.9%, putting Ovechkin's chase firmly back in the sports front burner, energizing crowds and infusing each of his shifts with palpable drama. And of course, meanwhile, Washington remains the top team in the Eastern Conference and continues to stack points in its chase for the President's Trophy. The Capitals are now tied with the Jets for a league-leading 92 points. After Sunday's empty netter against the Kraken, Ovechkin should stay healthy. He has 18 games remaining in this season to catch or surpass Gretzky's goal record. I guess that empty net thing is, if they continue to play well, is going to be out there fairly often. And I would imagine the Washington head coaches would put Ovi out there probably more often than not because, obviously getting an empty net goal is a easier feat than getting one past the goaltenders there in the.
How lame would that be if that's how he broke it, though, on an empty netter?
That's probably how it's going to happen, unfortunately.
If it does, it's asterisk.
Right? Maybe the team will pull the goalie for the entire third period. That'd be wild. But that's probably what'll end up happening. A little anticlimactic there, but probably the most famous empty net goal in the history of time, if that is the one that happens. What if Gretzky's goal record is his last goal was an empty netter? Could have been.
I'll see.
I guess you will. All right, I'm gonna pivot over to the NFL side of things, as really since starting on Friday, there's a lot of noise going on in trades and free agency, and I'm going to pick it up with Geno Smith being traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick. So that obviously opens up some questions in Seattle. Who is going to be their new quarterback? But Geno Smith quickly being reunited with Pete Carroll after Pete Carroll took a year off and is back in the NFL now with the Las Vegas Raiders. But a third-round pick was traded there to the Seahawks for quarterback Geno Smith. Sam Darnold also is set to be a free agent this week, but with Geno Smith being released, that opens up another potential door for Sam Darnold to get some decent money and head to a team that maybe he can make an impact on. Obviously, there's many teams in need of quarterbacks, but the Seattle Seahawks are the newest one to the table when it comes to that. Running back Gus Edwards for the Los Angeles Chargers will be released as well. That's some new news indeed. And let's see. We did have some news out of the Chiefs camp as well. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy was arrested on felony domestic violence charge in Texas. But if I'm not mistaken, some updates throughout the weekend, those charges were indeed dropped. So not really sure what all transpired with that. But the Bills extended former first-round pick Greg Rousseau, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I believe it's Rousseau.
Rousseau. Yeah, okay, got it. Looks like it.
Ovechkin's got more empty net goals than
anybody in the history of time.
Well, no. I'm not saying that. Just more than Wayne Gretzky had in his career.
Oh, wow.
I believe by about 8 or so.
I wonder what would be the cause of that. because Gretzky was
I would say more aggressive tendencies to pull goalies these days.
Yes, they pull them a lot earlier.
Yeah, I would say not just earlier, but you also
more 2-goal lead goalies getting pulled probably in this day and age than when Gretzky was playing in the 80s and the 90s. Greg Rousseau, he reached a 4-year, $80 million extension with the Buffalo Bills that includes $54 million guaranteed. Tight end Mike Gesicki is re-signing with the Bengals on a 3-year, $25.5 million deal. The 3-year deal includes $12 million in year 1 for tight end Mike Gesicki. Hollywood Brown obviously made a big impact in his first year there with the Chiefs, as he is getting a 1-year deal worth up to $11 million to return to the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs trying to keep their wide receiving core together. The Ravens also signing left tackle Ronnie Stanley to a 3-year, $60 million deal. That's easy math, $20 million a year. 3-time Pro Bowler tight end Zach Ertz is re-signing with the Commanders. It's a 1-year deal worth $6.25 million with a max value with incentives and bonuses of $9 million. Von Miller was released by the Buffalo Bills yesterday morning. That frees up $8.4 million against their cap, but the team is also open to bringing him back, which is something you see quite often, is a team will release somebody prior to the start of free agency and then re-sign them after the fact. I guess they can do that to save some cash money. One of the biggest things that transpired over the weekend, yesterday morning, the news broke that the Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett is not going anywhere, reached a contract extension that averages $40 million per year and almost $123 million in guaranteed money, and now makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. So Max Crosby's record only lasted, 4 or 5 days, something like that.
If that, I would say,
I don't know.
Around that area. Yeah. I don't know who got played more in this situation, the Browns organization once again, or Myles Garrett, who, came out and said he wants to be traded, wants to play for a contender, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're not going to trade you.
Money.
And I mean, he's in a tight position because he can play the whole holdout game and all of that good stuff, but the Browns came out and said, we're not going to trade you. So with that, it's like, well, all right, well, give me my money then.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll see. Browns, what a funny organization. I don't have as much room to talk, being a Tennessee Titans fan, but
yeah, I think the Browns take the cake over y'all.
The Bengals are in a bad spot right now with and it's got even harder for them with all of the contracts that we've had going over the weekend. I mean, their players just got tremendously more expensive. You just think about Trey Hendrickson. I know the more popular to talk about are Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but Trey Hendrickson is only the 5th player in NFL history to have back-to-back seasons with over 17 sacks. So he just got more expensive just because of the Myles Garrett and the Mason Crosby deal. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, there's a bunch of organizations that you're like, what in the world? Like the Seahawks, which at first I was thinking, man, this has got to be terrible for Coach Mike McDonald. Like you have your first year and you're 10-7, and then no Geno, no DK Metcalf, no Tyler Lockett, but also at the end of the day, that kind of buys their regime of general manager and head coach a little bit more time, which I don't know. If I'm the new head coach and we just went 10-7, I want to be better.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, and it kind of the Myles Garrett thing, and the Nick Bosa getting his big extension a few years ago, and then speaking of organizations that really don't seem to know what the heck they're doing, the Dallas Cowboys. Now the big topic is they obviously paid Dak $60 million a year, whatever it was, and now they've got to figure out a way to re-sign Micah Parsons, but because they continue to wait, Bosa's contract kind of pushed it up. So, and now you got Myles Garrett with his $40+ million a year contract. That's going to continue to kind of move that number up for Micah Parsons if he should stay a Dallas Cowboy. But because Jerry Jones and that organization continues to wait, it's going to cost him probably about $30 million a year in annual average value of a contract, which is kind of crazy. But it's kind of the nature of the sport. Continuing on with some updates from over the weekend. Defensive tackle Jaron Reed is re-signing a 3-year deal worth up to $25 million with those Seattle Seahawks. So staying with some of their guys on the defensive side of the football. Linebacker Nick Bolton is re-signing with the Chiefs on a 3-year, $45 million deal, including $30 million fully guaranteed at signing. San Francisco 49ers have released defensive tackle, or will release defensive tackle Malik Collins. He will be a free agent starting Wednesday and eligible to sign with teams at the time. Obviously, our defensive line and stuff had a lot of injuries and kind of struggled, and we were losing some players, and Collins actually had a pretty good impact last year, so kind of sad to see him go. But if that frees up money to get Dre Greenlaw back, I'm perfectly okay with that. Aaron Jones with the Minnesota Vikings is re-signing, and he's doing a 2-year, $20 million deal that includes $13 million guaranteed. One of the other there's 2 big-time wide receiver moves that transpired this weekend. We'll start with the first one, and that was wide receiver Davante Adams signing a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Rams. I believe it was 42 million, maybe 42.
I think 46 with 23
million.
guaranteed.
Gotcha.
Either way, 41, 42, 45, whatever.
A bunch of money. And now a lot of people saying he's replacing Cooper Kupp. I don't know if I like Davante Adams replacing Cooper Kupp. I just don't know if Davante's obviously he's an unbelievable wide receiver and he's got more downfield ability, and Cooper Kupp is kind of that slot receiver, great hands, runs great routes. But a lot of people saying now that Davante Puka Nacua duo is the 3rd best in the NFC behind Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, with Davante Adams and Puka Nacua right there in 3rd. But hey, to each his own. But the Rams needed to make a move, obviously, with the release of Cooper Kupp coming this week. Another deal, linebacker.
If the Cowboys were to get Cooper Kupp, I know that but CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, or Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams.
Ooh,
which duo do you like better?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
That one's tough, and no one wants to give the Cowboys any type of flowers anytime.
No. Well, they never make those moves. It'd be interesting to see if they did.
If I'm the Rams, though, and especially at the rate that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have been getting injured, does it make sense if you're making a final push? Because that's obviously the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's up there in age, so you're making that final push, one more Super Bowl championship. Do you try to keep all 3 and not really worry about the Cooper Kupp side of things as far as trying to get rid of him and trying to get some value for him?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what their cap space is certainly looking like. If you had all 3 of those guys, that would be pretty ridiculous. And, do you want to let Cooper Kupp go to somebody that you may have to compete against, in the playoffs or whatever it may be? I would probably, if he went to the Cowboys, I would probably say that duo may be a little better with CeeDee Lamb and Cooper Kupp. But I like the fact that Matt Stafford is throwing to Puka Nacua and Davante Adams.
I like that, too. Dak gets a lot of negativity thrown his way, and I think sometimes it's well-deserved, right? I think also a lot of it has to do with the team that he's quarterbacking. Matt Stafford, I think, is one of the people's favorites just because of how gritty he plays and what he plays through. So
yeah, he's played through a lot of injuries, especially when he was in Detroit, basically limping down that field on that one drive, and earned a lot of cred from a lot of fans out there, that's for sure.
And another thing I would say that maybe favors the Rams having the better duo, if you will, is the fact that Davante Adams in Oakland was basically number 1 and only.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to the Jets, he was still the number 1 guy, and Aaron Rodgers was just force-feeding him targets at the same time.
Which defenses can key in on that and makes it a little bit tougher, that's for sure. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll continue talking about some of the big transactions, including a big re-signing that just went down right now. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Three-pointer, punch him in!
We're taking March Madness to the next level. Join our bracket challenge at ESPNPC.com to compete with the ESPN Northwest Florida listeners and staff. The top 3 brackets win cash and prizes. Join the madness at ESPNPC.com. The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge is sponsored by PCB Hobby, Pepsi, and Panama City Toyota.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Monday. Some sun this afternoon and evening with a moderate breeze out of the north-northwest at 17 miles per hour, and look for the high to be 62. Tonight, there will be clear skies with the temperature reaching 54. Sunny tomorrow with a wind around 6 miles per hour and the high of 69. Wednesday, we'll have a high of 70 and sunshine. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. That's 800-605-4650.
Join the best of A winning inside drive with all your lines, props, and covers.
Winning
on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, head over to ESPNPC.com and sign up for the ESPN Northwest Florida's Big Bracket Challenge. The clock is ticking. Coming up this Sunday, it is indeed Selection Sunday, which will be covered, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, starting around 5 p.m., where they announce, obviously, all the seeds in the bracket. We'll go over some results from this past weekend, talk a little bit about the conference championships coming up for the big conferences, and, of course, we've already got some teams that have punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament. But just head over to ESPNPC.com, look at the upper right-hand corner, click the little, I guess they call that the hamburger that's got the 3 lines.
Oh, no, you got kids. I don't. I just call it the 3 dots.
Yeah. Well, this
hamburger sounds good, though.
I guess. I don't know.
More like
maybe it's a
like
big
a hot dog sandwich. You cut the hot dog into thirds.
Yeah, or it's a Big Mac, because it's got the 3 levels.
There
essentially.
You go.
I don't know, but I don't want to give McDonald's any credit. But yeah, click that little we'll call it the menu button, and open it up, and you'll see the ESPN Northwest Big Bracket Challenge. The first thing you see, you click on that, then you look at the verbiage and you click on click here, and it'll take you right to the current ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge. We got about 14 people in there.
15.
Right? 15. Oh, so we've had a sign up since I looked right before the show started. Excellent. We got to get over 100 like we did last year. I think we had 103 last year, if I'm not mistaken. So again, cash and prizes for first, second, and third. Appreciate PC Toyota, PCB Hobby, and Pepsi for sponsoring the ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge, as March Madness will really start this week coming up. And then, of course, once Selection Sunday transpires, we'll be rocking and rolling all the way through the tournament, which will culminate usually that Monday of Masters Week, which is exciting. You get to watch a national championship and roll right into Masters Week.
Yeah, and we're also in the middle of trying to figure out what we're going to do for fantasy baseball, which we already have a league made up. So if you'd like to play fantasy baseball, we're going to just do a online draft. We're not going to get up or anything. Just got to go through the managers and see how many we need. I'm going to do that right now. But if you'd like to play with us, send your name and email to 850-215-6290.
Absolutely. A lot of fun. And, of course, we'll have Joe Bond on Fridays for the next few weeks talking about fantasy baseball. If you listened to last week, he gave us top 5 in each position. And I learned a lot myself. not only from playing last year, but listening to him talk about some fantasy baseball, as he is the founder of Fantasy Six Pack. All right, jumping right back into the NFL free agency action that's been going on. The New York Jets linebacker Jamien Sherwood is returning to the Jets on a 3-year, $45 million deal, with $30 million of that fully guaranteed. Of course, Drew Rosenhaus was involved with that. I wonder how many players Drew Rosenhaus works with and coaches and all that. It's got to be a lot. If I was to go back, being a sports agent may be a lucrative career, but probably tough to get in there. Competition, I would imagine, is pretty challenging. Two-time Pro Bowler tight end Austin Hooper is returning to the New England Patriots on a 1-year, $5 million deal with a max value of $75 million per the source reporting it, which is Adam Scheffler in this case. Another big, massive one over the weekend, as a new NFL record was set. The Bills and Josh Allen reached an agreement on a new record-setting 6-year, $330 million contract that included $250 million guaranteed. That's $250 million. That's the largest
guarantee. Improved a little bit more than Deshaun, so. Yeah, just a little bit. And off the field, he really just likes to play golf and hang out, so didn't do as many crazy things as Deshaun was alleged of doing. This is the largest guarantee ever given to an NFL player. So Josh Allen will obviously continue to be the face of the franchise through at least 2030, which sounds extremely futuristic. He's 7-6 in the playoffs, and 4 out of those 6 losses, unfortunately, were to the Kansas City Chiefs. Another big one that transpired over the weekend is, as David already mentioned, wide receiver from the Seattle Seahawks, the big fella. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. DK Metcalf is headed to the Steelers. He will join, I was going to say Kenny Pickett. He will join George Pickens as another formidable duo, quote unquote, in the AFC. Who will be throwing to him? Don't quite know that yet. Ben Roethlisberger.
Big Ben coming out of retirement. That would be something fantastic. But a lot of different people likened to that Pittsburgh Steelers job. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, they need a quarterback. Justin Fields was on a 1-year. Russell Wilson's potentially looking to go elsewhere. And then, of course, they're going to need to find somebody here pretty quick. But you got some people. Aaron Rodgers has also been likened to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Mike Tomlin. You got Daniel Jones out there. You've got Sam Darnold. So, obviously, a lot will transpire this week as well, and we'll keep you updated as much as we possibly can. Let's see. New England Patriots have agreed to send defensive tackle Davon Godchaux to the New Orleans Saints for in exchange for a 2026 7th-round pick, so using a pick from next year. He attended high school in, I'm not even going to try to say it, Plaquemine, Louisiana, before playing at LSU. So he now returns basically to his home state and his own backyard, playing there with the New Orleans Saints. Defensive tackle DJ Jones and the Denver Broncos reached an agreement on a 3-year, $39 million deal that includes $26 million fully guaranteed. As I mentioned, Aaron Rodgers kind of emerges as a Steelers option. Adam Scheffler, a lot of these guys are reporting that he may make a move over there, but only time will tell. Former Jaguars free agent tight end Evan Ingram is visiting the Denver Broncos today as well. That was today being yesterday. And then the Falcons are releasing, this is this morning, the Falcons are releasing 2-time Pro Bowler defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. He played his entire 10-year NFL career in Atlanta. All right, what was the one that went down not too long ago?
Like as in today?
Yes, like
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes, thank you. I think Tampa Bay kind of saw what all was happening throughout the league and was like, you know what? We got to make sure we have a duo of wide receivers for Baker Mayfield to continue to throw to. And Chris Godwin is who signed an extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't have the number right here in front of me, but he is. I think it's a 2-year deal and locked in there to continue being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. It'd be really weird. It's gonna be really weird to see DK Metcalf not in a Steelers uniform. And like you said, it's gonna be really to not see a Seattle Seahawks uniform, as there's a lot of moves going down right now, and still many, many more to come, and especially a lot in the quarterback world. Another big one, another record, just seems like it continues to happen every year as the salary cap gets bigger and these teams have more and more money. Cornerback J.C. Horn has agreed to a four-year, $100 million extension, $108 million max, including $70 million guaranteed with the Carolina Panthers. At $25 million per year, Horn is now the highest-paid defensive back in NFL history. So obviously the Carolina Panthers are trying to keep that the defense looking good as much as they can. Obviously they got to continue to improve. They had a great end of their last season. Bryce Young kind of got going a little bit there and kind of played his way into keeping himself on the team after he did get benched. Also some news from today. Former Defensive Player of the Year Khalil Mack reached an agreement on a one-year, fully guaranteed $18 million deal with the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Chargers obviously have already said that they were going to be releasing Joey Bosa, and so obviously keeping Khalil Mack is a big one there. Free agent defensive tackle B.J. Hill is signing a 3-year, $33 million deal that includes $16 million guaranteed with the Cincinnati Bengals. So he will be back to the Bengals for at least 3 more years. Well, for at least a couple years anyway, because they could always renegotiate or be traded after that. Former Falcons center Drew Dahlman reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $42 million deal that includes $28 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears. That deal makes Dahlman the NFL's second highest paid center. Steve Carrick of the Wasserman negotiated the deal with the Bears GM Ryan Poles. That's, I believe, the third offensive lineman that the Bears have brought in so far in this offseason.
They've been doing exactly what you're supposed to do, man, trying to get the trenches. I mean, Ben Johnson has came in there and said, look, y'all got us weapons last year, well, we're going to turn around and protect the ultimate weapon for the team, which is Caleb Williams at this point in time. So I'm interested to see how it ends up playing out for him, man. I like to see when teams work from the inside out.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's obviously the formula on winning championships in the NFL is you have to have both your offensive and defensive lines being really, really stout, because you got to protect your passer, and then, of course, you got to get to the other team's passer. Philadelphia did a fantastic job over the last few years, and you saw that culminate in the Super Bowl this year against the Kansas City Chiefs. Former Dolphins wide receiver Braxton Berrios reached an agreement on a 1-year, $2 million deal with the Texans. The deal was negotiated by Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey. 3-year, fully guaranteed for Chris Godwin. I was trying to find out how much it was, but did not say. A new blindside protector for Patrick Mahomes. Former 49ers offensive tackle Jalen Moore reached an agreement today on a 2-year, $30 million deal, including $21.2524 fully guaranteed at signing with the Chiefs. So they're looking to protect the blind side there of Patrick Mahomes. I believe their left tackle went. I'm not 100%.
I think Joe Thuney, right?
Yes, went to the Bears. Yeah. Went to the Bears. So they had to find another one and took one for the Niners. And, Jalen Moore didn't play a whole ton, especially obviously when Big Trent was healthy. So Big Trent seems to be healthy now, and so they've moved on from Jalen Moore. Hassan Reddick agreed to a 1-year deal for $14 million, including $12 million guaranteed with the Buccaneers. Deal negotiated, of course, by guess who? Drew Rosenhaus. I don't know how the guy has so much time to be talking to so many people.
He's got great assistants.
He must. He must have quite a few of them, quite a few phones as well. That pretty much catches us up on everything when it comes to all the NFL action going on right now. Of course, your NFL draft coming up in late April, but the big news will continue to keep you updated throughout the week, as this is one of the bigger weeks for the NFL season as free agency officially gets underway. Technically today, as teams can officially talk to players from other teams, but official free agency begins on Wednesday the 12th. But a lot of big names have already made moves, and I'm sure many more to come. David, I wanted to ask you about your Tennessee Titans and what your opinion. I think I've asked you this before, but given all the
like every other day,
not
just you, just
everybody.
I mean, it makes sense though.
Yeah,
You're not in this position very often.
It's true. That's true. What do you think they're going to do based on the free agency?
Still trade. Still, I mean,
trade it. Get some
even more so now with the Browns doing that with Myles Garrett. If they're really stuck on Abdul Carter out of Penn State, then I think that it makes a ton of sense to try to get a little bit of value out of that first round pick, which is not as valuable as some of the other first round picks in the past. Just how this draft class is playing out, but I think they are going to trade it, and it's really going to be more than likely with the Browns or the Giants seem like to be the pick, but if you're the Giants, what's the point in moving up number one if you don't feel like the Titans are going to take Cam Ward? And now,
you still could be available without having to trade.
And there's still Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold out there, and I think that both of those guys are more viable. If you're the Titans, it would make some sort of sense to take Cam Ward. However, none of your quarterbacks have worked out in the past. Do you really believe that Cam Ward is a generational talent? I mean, I would let another franchise find out. In my personal, that's just my personal take on it. So I would like to still see them trade out of that.
Yeah, no doubt. But just talking about some of the other quarterbacks and some of the information coming out of these camps, Steelers want Justin Fields over Russell Wilson, but Justin Fields wants to test the quarterback market and see what potential other offers he may get. The Titans want a vet or a rookie quarterback to replace Will Levis. Insiders think Sam Darnold will end up in Seattle, which obviously makes sense. We talked about that a little bit ago with Geno Smith going to the Raiders. The Colts and Vikings will both go after Daniel Jones. Aaron Rodgers is the favorite for the Giants, who might also give Russell Wilson a look. Lastly, the Vikings are a dark horse for Rodgers, which would complete the post-Green Bay Favre cycle. I'd love to see that, just to see history kind of repeat itself and watch Favre go from the green and yellow to the green and white to the purple and yellow. So
it could happen. I think that it's a lot further away now. I really do think that with the way that the Vikings have been talking about Sam Darnold, that they're just going to go J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah. I mean, that it's kind of what would make more sense for them. Obviously,
pick up Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, he's free agent now again. The what's the gunslinger just flying and floating around every year in the NFL. But I mean, you still got J.J. McCarthy on a rookie deal. He's not going to cost you a lot against the cap. You can see how he does this year, and I think this the next year's draft class, quarterback-wise, I think we'll have a little more overall quote-unquote NFL-ready talent. But that is yet to be seen until we see how these guys do, coming out of the 2025 draft. But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. I just don't know why. I guess they're not liking what they're seeing out of Will Levis and want to make another change.
You guess?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen it.
I mean, the guy got the starting job, lost the starting job, and then got it back and then lost it again. It's and you can't put your team in predicaments. There's one thing, your timing might be off a little bit, but when you're
pitching the ball to the other team directly,
that stuff don't just stop. That's you
can't do that in Pee Wee football, let alone NFL football. But yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out over the course of the next few weeks leading into the 2025 NFL draft, which will certainly be a lot of fun, as it always is. When we get back from our break, we're going to dive a little bit. Hold on, we've got another one, and this is a little sad and disappointing. But the Chiefs to sign former 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell to a one-year deal worth $3.5 million. How can you go to that?
He fits in with
I know he does
well too, and him spelling Isaiah Pacheco. Wow, yeah, that one's.
How do you go to the Chiefs of all players? I don't know.
I mean, if I'm a player, that's the first team I want to sign with.
Yeah.
Give me the Chiefs, give me the Bills.
Well, he could be their number one running back right off the get-go.
Derrick Henry technically is a free agent right now as well, but more than likely he's going to be. He said he wants to finish his career over there in Baltimore, and I do not blame him one bit for that. That's a dangerous combination with him and Lamar Jackson, as we saw this last year.
No doubt. Washington, the Commanders, also to sign former Jets defensive tackle and former Niners defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw to a 3-year, $45 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. So Washington making some moves to get their defense a little bit bit better, obviously, with a pretty formidable offense. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to dive into some of the big college basketball games over the weekend, including the number one team in the country going down to their in-state rival, in addition to a lot of other big games that transpired. And we'll dive through the conference brackets, get David's thoughts on the National Player of the Year, and see who's on the bubble of being in and out of the NCAA tournament. You guys listen to the Inside Drive, some men's college basketball coming up next.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
March Madness is incoming, and for the most bracket-busting fun, we've got you covered. This Sunday, find out who is going to the big dance. Selection Sunday coverage starts at 5. Then, fill out your bracket by going to ESPNPC.com and clicking Big Bracket Challenge. Free to play, and you can win cash and prizes from your home for March Madness.
It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Discover the new Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive the new 2025 Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The 2025 Kia SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in the luxury of a 2025 Kia K5 sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Performance, power, and design built for you. Spark inspiration in the all-electric 2025 EV9. It's a modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts in Delhi. Call 763-1627.
This is not for the casual fan. This is for the warriors. This is for the legends.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Diving into some top 25 action from the past weekend, mainly Saturday. Had a one on yesterday as well, which was a great game. But we'll start with the big one that everybody was watching and talking about, and that was number 1 Auburn, who hosted number 7 Alabama, and it lived up to all the hype leading into that game as well. Alabama kind of forced over. No, I don't want to say forced overtime, but got into overtime with Auburn, and then of course you could kind of feel it. They got the revenge to what happened the past weekend against Tennessee, and Mark Sears, you can't let him go to the left. He went to the left, got the jump shot off, buried it, and then all the Bama players taunted the Auburn crowd, or the student section, with the crane, which has been kind of a back and forth with Auburn and Alabama for several years now. Final score in that one at 93-91. Grant Nelson was a star in that game. Lots of rebounds, lots of points, including some big-time dunks down the stretch. And Janai Broom finished his regular season career with Auburn with 34 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals in that game, including some big-time three-pointers down the stretch. And then Duke was playing the lowly North Carolina in their final regular season game, and they won that one 82-69. Cooper Flagg had another solid game with 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. Houston took care of business over Baylor. Number 3 ranked Houston 65-61. Tennessee got back on the winning side of things over South Carolina 75-65. Florida dominated Ole Miss again 90-71. Florida just continues to keep playing great basketball, and if you're looking for a pick for the SEC championship tournament, I think Florida should be at the top of your list. Obviously, Auburn and Alabama, great picks as well, but something about the way Florida's playing basketball right now is I would put them at my top of the list. Maybe a long shot too for the NCAA tournament as well. St. John's behind Rick Pitino having another great, he's brought another team to the promised land again as St. John's beat Marquette in the final game of the season for the Big East matchup there. St. John's was 6, Marquette was 20. St. John's hit a buzzer beater in overtime, and that was the game right before Auburn, Alabama, so lots of great basketball on this past Saturday. They won that one 86-84. Jones for Marquette had 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, but that wasn't enough for Marquette to get it done as they did indeed lose in overtime. And then Luis Jr. for St. John's with 28 points and 11 rebounds. Great game for him as well. And I believe that Big East tournament is hosted at Madison Square Garden, which is where St. John's plays their home games. So nothing like having a home court advantage in the conference tournament.
Especially that conference, yeah.
Absolutely. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Texas Tech dominated Arizona State 85-57. Iowa State beat K-State 73-57. Virginia Tech couldn't get over 50 points against number 11 Clemson as they lost that one 65-47. Penn State did upset Wisconsin in their final Big Ten game of the season. Penn State won that one 86-75. Maryland, number 13, took care of business over Northwestern 74-61. And Louisville with a great ACC season this year, 18-2 in the ACC as they beat Stanford 68-48 in a very weird matchup. That whole Stanford being in the ACC is still very, very confusing. Kentucky and Missouri, Kentucky 91-83, Texas A&M over LSU 66-52. That was the one I was sweating a little bit to see what was going to happen in that game to hit that final leg, but boy, it came to fruition nicely in the second half. Utah 74, BYU 85. BYU extends their Big 12 conference record to 14-6. Kansas beat the Wildcats 83-76. And then Arkansas upset Mississippi State 93-92 in Coach Calipari's first season there with the Arkansas Razorbacks, leads them to a 19-2 record and just 8-10 in the very, very challenging SEC. I do want to talk about real quick before we get into some of these brackets for the conference championships is the conversation now is clearly Cooper Flagg and Johni Broome. Who's going to win the Naismith Player of the Year? Kind of looking at their stats a little bit. The stats are very, very similar, but I'm going to give my argument to why I think Johni Broome is the one that should win the Player of the Year. Cooper Flagg stats, 19.4 points per game. Johni Broome, 18.8, so basically pretty much the same points per game there. Rebounds, Cooper Flagg, 7.6. Johni Broome, 11, so averaging a double-double on the season. Cooper Flagg, 4.1 assists per game. Johni Broome, 3.4 assists per game. It's crazy how close their shooting percentage was. Cooper Flagg, 49.1% from the field. Johni Broome shooting almost 51% at 50.9%. Three-point shooting, Cooper Flagg, 37.5% there. And then, obviously, Johni Broome, not really a big-time three-point shooter at 29.9%. Blocks per game, Cooper Flagg just 1.1. Obviously, he's not a big defensive player like Johni Broome is with 2.5 blocks per game. Steals per game for Cooper Flagg, 1.5. Steals per game for Johni Broome at 0.7 steals per game. Obviously, last 2 years, Purdue forward Zach Edey won both of the Naismith Players of the Year in 2022. Oscar, I don't know how to pronounce that one. Tshiebwe. I knew you'd know it. You got all these names down. And
he got drafted by the Pacers. He was a big player for Kentucky. Foreign born and everything. He was a beast in college.
Say it again one more time.
Tshiebwe.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't think that like the the way that it looks is not how the phonetics end up coming out.
Which is...
Because it does sound more like, or look like Tshiebwe, because it's Tshiebwe or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yep. Tshiebwe. It's fun to say. Iowa forward Luke Garza in 2021, Dayton forward Obi Toppin in 2020, and then 2019 was Zion Williamson, 2018 was Jalen Brunson, 2017 was Frank Mason, Buddy Heldon, 16 from Oklahoma, and then back in 2015 was Frank Kaminsky from the Wisconsin Badgers. But getting back to this year, obviously it's kind of down to a two-man race at this point. Both have, I think Cooper Flagg's got the better odds to win it. But my argument's going to be the schedule that these two teams played. Obviously, the ACC not super strong this year. Duke just kind of blew through it, winning games by more than 15 points in most of their ACC matchups, where Auburn had to go, besides Alabama, one of the toughest schedules in conference history, and they handled it well. They only had 4 total losses, and their quad 1 wins, they were 16-4 in quad 1 wins, which is pretty darn impressive. So Auburn obviously lost its second straight game Saturday against Alabama, which is a headline only because it didn't happen very often in this particular season. Regardless final season record, it's been an incredible year for the Tigers, who still enter championship week as the runaway #1 NCAA tournament seed. Against the nation's top-ranked schedule, they are 23 games above 500, making them 27-4. They were 1 win shy of a all-time record there for the Auburn Tigers basketball program. Obviously a huge accomplishment, especially when you consider more than 60% of their games came against Q1, Quad 1 competition, and they are 15-4 in those games. I apologize, I said 16-4. 15-4, including 6-2 on the road. Their only 4 losses came to teams ranked #1, #4, #6, and #20 in the net Palm rankings, and their campaign is arguably the greatest regular season since Kentucky arrived at the 2015 Final Four at 38-0. We know those Wildcats didn't quite reach the finish line, and maybe Auburn won't either, but what we have witnessed should not be forgotten. And for those reasons, I think Johni Broome should be the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue too heavily at all with that, especially when you bring the schedule aspect of it into the mix, because really outside of Duke, who's in the ACC, Clemson, I think, as far as a team that can make a run this year in the tournament. So that's got to be something that's heavily weighted. I think that Flagg is the more flashier pick. Just
he's going to be a potential #1 NBA draft pick too. So.
And the hype that he had coming in before he even started playing, and then the realization of how real that hype possibly is. But man, I mean, you talk about a guy who really in the first game against Alabama, Johni Broome was absolutely huge, and then to hit the 3 to send it to overtime in the second game this last Saturday. I think, voters need to take a long, hard look at this one. I mean, according to The Athletic, they're saying that it's not even close, and it should be, Johni Broome by a long shot. So we'll see how it plays out, but you know how it goes, man. The brands play such a role in this as well. And so when a guy is playing over there at Duke compared to Auburn, even though Auburn's having one of the greatest seasons of all time, that Blue Devil D will play a factor in this.
Yep, no doubt. Like you were saying, Duke, obviously 28-3, Clemson 26-5, Louisville 25-6, and then it drops off to North Carolina and the rest of the conference, which looks like almost half of the conference was below 500, starting with Notre Dame all the way down to Miami. Whereas if you go into the SEC, obviously very, very top-heavy, moving about halfway into that conference. You got to go all the way down to the bottom 2 teams before you find a team that's below 500. So a little bit different, not so much apples to apples with those 2 conferences, but obviously Auburn earned the #1 seed in the SEC conference tournament. But getting back to the kind of where we are watching the bubble, obviously Auburn looking like the overall #1 seed. First team out, likely Boise State. Last team in, Xavier, which Xavier has had some good history.
Xavier. Yeah,
X-Men.
Well, when I first started here, I would call him Xavier all the time, and people, it's Xavier. It's Xavier. I'm like, well, why'd they spell it with an X then?
Yeah, just put a Z. Change it from an X to a Z.
Right on, but yeah, old Musketeers.
That's right. Get those muskets out. But yeah, likely them being the first team in, kind of on the bubble. Last 4 in: San Diego State, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Xavier. First 4 out: Boise State, North Carolina, Texas, and Colorado State. Next 4 out: Nebraska, Wake Forest, Cincinnati, and Dayton. And then the last 4 byes: Baylor, Utah State, Arkansas, and Indiana. So obviously we'll keep you updated again. Selection Sunday coming up this Sunday, March 16th. Coverage right here on ESPN Northwest Florida starting at 5 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone.
Yeah, a full week of good basketball. We're going to be carrying, we'll have the Orlando Magic on Thursday night. Then on Friday night, we'll have the ACC semifinals. On Saturday, we'll have the SEC semifinals and the ACC championship. And then on Sunday, we'll have the SEC championship and then wrap it up with Selection Sunday, which I did have with Selection Sunday, not necessarily Selection Sunday, but so we just finished up women's basketball. We had all of the conference tournaments. Everyone's punched their ticket, all that good stuff. Have they created the bracket for women's basketball, or do they do that all on Selection Sunday?
Ooh, I would imagine it's already out, right? Did they do
That's
it?
That's what I kind of figured, but I haven't looked. And you'd think that you would have all kind of join the women's tournament challenge, all that good stuff. Man, I'll tell you what, women's basketball, they've really grown over the last few years, and the WNBA has, gotten Angel Reese and got Caitlin Clark, and now they're on the heels of this lockout. I know that the players want more money, but if you lock out right now, you might hurt that sport for a long time.
Yeah.
College basketball will still be relevant because those girls are just doing great things, but I mean, Buckets and Paige Buckets and Juju Watkins are going to be headed to the league soon. I mean, are you going to be able to keep that star power going?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that would be a disaster for the WNBA, especially given how much momentum you've created in the last year. It looks like it's after the men's at 8 p.m. Coming up this Sunday, the 16th, as well.
They make you wait a whole week after all the tournaments are done.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a bummer if you were on one of the teams. It was on the bubble. You'd have a lot of anxiousness, obviously, throughout the entire week. Let's see, where was that going here? Let me get back to... All right, so we've already got some teams that have punched their ticket to the men's NCAA tournament. Obviously, like David said, all the automatic buys on the women's side are in as all those conference championships have finished up. But you've got Lipscomb University. They won the ASUN tournament against the University of North Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll get, I believe they've been in the tournament. I think this might be their second time. From the Big South bracket, you had High Point University.
I believe they're a first timer.
That's a first timer, yes, absolutely. And I actually visited High Point when I was looking at colleges up there in High Point, North Carolina. Who else we got? We got Drake coming out of Missouri Valley. I believe that's their 8th time and their 3rd year in a row that they're heading back to the NCAA tournament. And then from the Ohio Valley bracket, I believe that's Southern Illinois University.
Yes, and they are, I think it's... I don't know, because it isn't like SIE
It's
or something?
SIUE.
UE, yeah. Okay.
It's not the Salukis.
Maybe a Southern Illinois University East.
There you go.
But they're a first-timer, too, I believe.
Oh, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville.
Edwardsville,
of
course.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I don't know
How'd
why
you
that
forget
slipped
that?
my mind. Yeah, I don't know.
Ridiculous.
I'm going to need to go take a long look in the mirror after this break.
No doubt, no doubt. Edwardsville, Illinois is where they're from. They have a 98% acceptance rate, so letting a lot of people in, that's for sure. But I'm pretty sure that's their first NCAA tournament as well. Omaha won the Summit League breakfast.
Yep.
They won by default because St. Thomas is ineligible. And don't ask me why St. Thomas.
Well, because it's their first year. DU.
Kind of the same
D1.
crap as JMU.
Yeah, so they've got to wait 5 years. It's and you know what? It's so funny. I was watching. I forget if it was ESPN or CBS, and one of the lady commentators or analysts was saying, while we're trying to fix everything with college sports, why not let's take a look at this one? And I agree wholeheartedly with her. What's the point of even a 1-year ban? athletically speaking, if you do what it is that you're supposed to do, that means that you're well above course, or well above your trajectory, if you will. So you should be playing in the tournament, man. I hate to see this. I mean, to think about it, if you come over as a freshman, if you straight out of high school, you go to that school as a freshman, St. Thomas, you have no chance of making the NCAA tournament. No matter how good you guys, and that's, not to say, let's back off the brakes and not give it 110%. That's not going to happen, but still just wild.
Yeah, and it's going to be real tough to recruit kids, that's for sure. But, and again, I think we talk about this in football all the time. If you're good enough to win the conference championship, there's no reason you should be banned from postseason play. Makes zero sense, that's for sure.
Might as well just keep them out of the conference tournaments at that point.
Yeah, just don't even let them have an opportunity to win it. But, strange stuff. But NCAA does a lot of things that we don't understand, and that is definitely one of them. All right, moving over to the SEC bracket. I got to go ahead and take a break. Whew, that flew by. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive. We'll have some Afternoon Delight debriefs when we get back.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
March Madness is incoming, and for the most bracket-busting fun, we've got you covered. This Sunday, find out who is going to the big dance. Selection Sunday coverage starts at 5. Then, fill out your bracket by going to ESPNPC.com and clicking Big Bracket Challenge. Free to play, and you can win cash and prizes from your home for March Madness.
It's ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Monday. The rest of the day, some sun and 62 with a moderate breeze out of the north-northwest around 17 miles per hour. Tonight, clear skies with lows around 54. Tomorrow, sunny with a light breeze and a temperature near 69. Moving into Wednesday, about the same with a high of 70 and sunny. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Powered by Panama City Toyota. Your home for Auburn Tiger basketball. WGSX Lynn Haven. WPLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
And now, the Afternoon Delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Afternoon Delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon Delight.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 here in Panama City and Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We're sitting inside the Golf Plus studios. Big shout out to Alan Watson and all his great team members there at the two Golf Plus locations, one right here at the Edgewater Shopping Plaza, right next to Firefly, and of course up there off of 231 in Dothan as well. Not just new clubs, they can get you some used clubs. You can trade in your clubs. You can get fit for clubs. I always tell everybody, if you want to get better at golf, obviously lessons is a big part of that, and go see our buddy Jay over there at Bay Point Golf Club. But also getting fit for those clubs is a big importance. The way the irons sit on the ground can make it go left to right without you not even knowing, and right to left, vice versa. And then, of course, the driver, you have to have the right shaft flex, the right weight, obviously the right loft. And if one thing that people don't don't talk too much about is the kick point of that particular shaft, as the kick point is really what controls how high or low you're hitting that golf ball. The higher the kick point on the shaft, the lower it comes off. The lower the kick point, the higher it comes off. So if you swing real fast and you need that club face to slow down through impact, you get a shaft with a higher kick point. And of course, Golf Plus can put you on their launch monitors and their simulators and find out all that information. And the beautiful thing nowadays is a lot of these golf manufacturers, it's all just a little adapter that goes on the end of the shaft. So back in the day, in order to replace a shaft, you had to put it on a shaft extractor, heat it up, pull it off, get the new one on there, put the ferrule on there, glue it in. Now, all you got to do is put an adapter on the end of that shaft and pop it into your club with the new technology that they all have. But again, all of that service can be there at Golf Plus, right there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza or up there off of 231 in Dothan. Golf clubs, apparel, cool gifts, and it's not just gifts for golfers. They've got Bluetooth speakers, they've got cups, they've got head covers, putter covers, all sorts of custom and unique stuff. You got to go check out Golf Plus and head over to golfplusdothan.com to sign up for a fitting. Also want to give a shout out to our big challenge coming up. That is ESPN Northwest Florida's big bracket challenge. You're going to hear me talk about it a lot over the next several days. Just head over to espnpc.com. Click that upper right-hand corner, the red box with the 3 white lines. You'll see big bracket challenge. Once you click on that, you'll see a little paragraph where you see the words click here. Click those. It'll take you right to ESPN Northwest Florida's group for the big bracket challenge. I'm going to look and see how we're doing on signups. I know we were up to 15 a little bit earlier. Maybe we have some more. It's not in DraftKings. I know that. Let's see. Big bracket challenge. Oh, I need to change my name. RP Mulvey One's Picks. That's terrible. All right. Show groups, ESPN Northwest Florida. 15. All right. We'll keep it going. We'll keep it going. Again, all you got to do is do that. If you already got the app on your phone, or if you already got, the ESPN Fantasy app on your phone, it'll take you right there. You click join group, and boom, you are good to go. You are in. We appreciate PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, and Pepsi for sponsoring this contest where if you finish in the top 3, you could win some cash and prizes. Again, just over on ESPNPC.com. You can also watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, and follow. We appreciate if you're watching on Facebook, just click that little share button and then click one more time. That's all you got to do to help get our shows out there, get the word out there. We appreciate it very, very much. Again, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9. Inside Drive from 11 to 1. And, of course, David Hayes and his slew of guests on the afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. And last but not least, you can head over to your Google Play or Apple Store and download our free mobile app. All you got to do is search up 104.3. It'll show up right there in the first page of your search results. And you got to download it. It's just as simple as that. I don't need to give you any reasons. I tell you reasons every day. But just go ahead and download our free mobile app. All right, I'm going to dive into some afternoon delight debriefs. Hopefully my voice will hang in there for these. The first one, this is a good one. This kind of made me chuckle when I read the headline. London Comedy Club bans audience members with frozen faces from Botox. March 10th, the owner of a London Comedy Club announced he is banning audience members with Botox injections after performers complained about the unresponsive faces in the crowd. Mark Rothman, owner of Top Secret Comedy Club, said the business's 2 venues have decided to not allow patrons with Botox injections to be in the audience for comedy shows. I've had numerous complaints from performers who find it increasingly challenging to gauge audience engagement and bounce off their reactions, Rothman said in a news release. Comedy thrives on connection, and facial expressions play a huge part. We want people to laugh, cry, frown, sneer, but frozen face from Botox impacts the entire atmosphere. Rothman said audience members will be submitted to an expression check at the front door to ensure their faces are able to move before being admitted. We hope trialing this ban will help move the needle and get facial reactions back into the room for benefit of our comedians and the audience, he said. So, hey, if you're going over to London and you want to go to the Top Secret Comedy Club, which sounds like it's pretty hard to find anyway, you can't be all Botoxed up because the comedians there that perform want to see your reactions via your face.
Yeah, that's
I feel like a lawsuit's coming.
I guess, yeah. It's not America, though, so maybe it's not, as prevalent over there to get away with your lawsuits and whatnot without me knowing. Yeah, but great movement, right? Yeah.
Make faces move again.
Or maybe just work on your material so at least get a laugh out of them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess...
Should be an audible tone that you're hearing that lets people, not just facial expressions, unless they got the kind of like where they snap as their clap, like poetry, slam poetry or whatever.
Yeah. Gotcha. But interesting nonetheless. All right, a couple stories from Florida. Police chased swan through traffic on Florida highway. Traffic was interrupted on a busy Florida highway when a swan wandered out into the roadway and led police on a chase. The Orlando Police Department responded to reports of a swan causing a traffic hazard on State Road 408 near Bumby Avenue, prompting a swift response. Highway cameras recorded footage of the police and community service officers chasing the bird through traffic jam until, hold on, an ad popped up. Another one back to back. That's not very nice. Come on. I'm going to give you feedback, Google. I don't want the ad. How about that? Oh, goodness. It's literally, there it goes. Just had to refresh it. The bird threw the traffic jam until they were able to grab hold of the feathered fugitive. The swan was taken to Lake Eola House for evaluation and rehabilitation. Although the swan doesn't appear to call Lake Eola home, we're happy it's now out of harm's way, police wrote. Let this serve as another reminder to slow down and stay focused while driving. You never know what you'll encounter on the road. Orlando City Commissioner Patty Sheehan said the swan was later returned to a flock in the wild. The swan's like, you took me to this place and then you returned me to a flock that I don't even know. It's like, this was the worst day ever. But yeah, watch out for swans there on the road. Another story from the great state of Florida. Let's see, this is Sumter. Entangled dog rescued from the edge of Florida River. Let's see if it's got any context. March 7th, this is back from last Friday. Firefighters and animal control officers teamed up in Florida to rescue a runaway dog found stranded on the edge of a river with his leash and collar entangled in a tree. Sumter County Fire and EMS said on social media that personnel responded alongside Sumter County Animal Services when multiple calls came in from concerned boaters who spotted a dog tangled in a tree, trapped by its collar and leash, unable to free itself from the water's edge. Rescuers determined they could not reach the dog, later identified as Blackie, from the shore, so a plan was made to reach the canine by boat. The team carefully freed him from the entangled leash, secured him safely, and transported him back to the staging area, the Post said. Blackie, who was miraculously unharmed despite being missing for about a week, was scanned for a microchip which allowed his rescuers to identify the owners and facilitate a happy reunion. Whew! He got lucky, that's for sure.
Yep.
That is for sure. All right, here's a good one. Indian teen with werewolf syndrome earns a Guinness World Record. That's wild. Just looking at the picture. Oh, goodness. An 18-year-old from India was awarded the Guinness World Record for the hairiest face on a person when officials determined he had 201.72 hairs per square centimeter of skin. Per square centimeter, 201 hairs. That is nuts. Lalat Patidar earned the male version of the record after living with a rare hair growth condition called hypertrichosis, which is known as
use some of that.
Werewolf syndrome. This condition believed to only occur in about 1 of a billion people, with only about 50 documented cases since the Middle Ages. Patidar had hair on over 90% of his face, and he has since he was a child. He told Guinness World Records that the other children at school were scared of me, but when they started knowing me and talking to me, they understood I was not so different from them. It was just on the outside, and I looked different, but I'm not different inside. He said people still sometimes tell him he should have the hair removed from his face. There's not much to say to people about that. I tell them I like how I am and don't want to change my look, Patidar said. Patidar, who chronicles his day-to-day life on YouTube, said he was proud to earn the world record. I am speechless. I don't know what to say because I'm very happy to get this recognition, he said. Not really a earned recognition, so to speak, more of a God-given recognition. But, David, there's kind of a picture of his face.
Oh, wow, he does look like a werewolf. I bet that's quite annoying to shave.
Well, doesn't sound like he shaves it. Sounds like he leaves it. 201 hairs per square centimeter on this particular gentleman's face. But wild stuff there coming out of India, and I guess a Guinness World Record that wasn't very hard to achieve. He just has to exist to get that particular world record. Did want to mention? Actually, you know what? How much time we got? Oh, we're okay. I was going to see. All right, another animal one, because that's kind of what we do. Bernice the duck apprehended after breaking into Georgia jail. Back on Friday, March 7th, sheriff's deputies in Georgia rushed into action when a jail break-in was perpetrated by a white female suspect, a duck. The Polk County Sheriff's Office said on social media that a white female was discovered inside the perimeter fence at Polk County Jail at about 7:43 a.m. on Wednesday. The suspect, a duck, attempted to go over the perimeter fence in an attempt to escape capture, the sheriff's office said. Deputies cornered the duck to keep her from being injured by the razor wire on the perimeter fence. She could not tell us where she came from or how she got there, but we did notice she had an injured foot, the Post said. We were able to call for backup after a lengthy standoff, involving two agencies. We were able to take her into custody. Polk County Animal Control assisted with the capture of the jail trespasser. The duck, dubbed Bernice, was transported to a new home on Derek Tilley's farm, the sheriff's office said. Breaking and entering.
Who would have thought that an animal without thumbs could be breaking and entering?
I don't know, but certainly can fly. And that's one way to get over that fence, I guess. But I wonder if she got injured on the razor wire from that particular fence. I don't know. I think all these other ones I've already hit. I was going to talk about TripAdvisor's best of the best destinations. I would have never thought number one would be this particular destination, but we'll go through at least the top 5 here real quick to finish up our Afternoon Delight debrief section. Number 1, according to TripAdvisor, London. Never would have thought London would have been number 1. From Shoreditch's swaggering style to Camden's punky vibe and chic Portobello Road, London is many worlds in one. The city's energy means that no 2 days are the same. Explore royal or historic sites, tick off landmarks from your bucket list, eat and drink exclusive Michelin-starred restaurants, enjoy a pint in a traditional pub, or get lost winding down cobbled streets and see what you stumble across. When it comes to London, the possibilities are endless. Number 2, Bali. That's over there in Indonesia, Jay, if you're listening. Bali is a living postcard, an Indonesian paradise that feels like a fantasy. Soak up the sun on a stretch of fine white sand or commune with a tropical creatures as you dive along coral ridges or the colorful wreck of a World War II warship. On shore, the lush jungle shelters, stone temples, and mischievous monkeys. The artistic capital of Ubud is the perfect place to see a cultural dance performance, take a batik or silver smithing workshop, or invigorate your mind and body in a yoga class. Obviously, Bali is a beautiful, beautiful place. And speaking of a World War II warship, I know, what's that ship's name? I'm drawing a blank. Somebody listening probably knows that's currently traveling past us, that they're deciding where to actually sink it and make it one of the United States' largest artificial reefs. I want to say it's the USS...
Is that the USS United States?
Yes, it is. It is. Yep. I knew it was something with the United States. I was going to say the USS Constitution, but that's... I think that was a ship, but I'm not...
Man, they just want to drown the Constitution?
Like, I don't know. But yeah, they're supposed to be figuring out where to sink that bad boy. But you could see it, people could see it outside of off the shore, off of Destin, I believe. And we're taking a look at it to see where it's going to end up landing. Does it say there, David, where it's going to end up landing?
I will find out.
Not landing, but sinking, I guess, on purpose. because those ships make great reefs for natural wildlife from the ocean. That is for sure. Well, he's looking that up. Number 3, Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. Dubai is
going to be in the Gulf of Florida.
I
can't give you the coordinates or anything.
Gulf of Florida. They change it again?
I'm guessing it means Gulf of America. This is AI, bro.
Oh, yeah. When you search up, it gives you the AI stuff. Yep, that's right. But anyway, hopefully maybe it'll be off a coast here.
20 nautical miles south of the Florida Panhandle.
Okay.
So not far from us at all.
No, so you can get out there if you're a big diving enthusiast. Once it's sank, get out there and check out all the stuff on that wreck. So
it's going to stay in Mobile for about a year, though, and it got to Mobile.
That's right. It died over there with the USS
March
Alabama,
3rd, so
right?
last Monday, yeah.
Nice, yeah. Be kind of cool to check out before they sink it. Again, number 3 on this list, Dubai is a destination that mixes modern culture with history, adventure, with world-class shopping and entertainment. Catch a show at the Dubai Opera, see downtown from atop the Burj Khalifa, and spend an afternoon along Dubai Creek exploring the gold, textile, and spice soaks. If you're looking for thrills, you can float above the desert dunes in a hot air balloon, climb aboard a high-speed ride at IMG's Worlds of Adventure, or skydive over the Palm Jumeirah. I think I pronounced that wrong. Number 4, Sicily, over there in Italy. A visit to Sicily is truly a feast for all senses. The Mediterranean island is a foodie's paradise, offering rustic fare that makes most local bounty. Crispy and creamy arinci, fried balls of rice filled with cheese, and sauce are mouthfuls of heaven. The Sicilian sweet tooth has manifested in some of the world's finest desserts, like icy granita, looks like Nita, and sinful cannolis. Give your stomach a quick break and visually devour the Baroque architecture of Catania or the awesome holy monuments of Argento. Agrigento. Arigento. I'm going to go with Agrigento. There it is. Agrigento. Number 5 is Paris. Number 6 is Rome. Number 7 is Hanoi over there in Vietnam. Number 8, Marrakech in Morocco. Crete in Greece, and then Bangkok in Thailand. A lot of these, obviously, areas are tied to tropical paradises, but I came across my email today and says, you know what, I'll just go through some of them on the Afternoon Delight debrief. But we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the results of the Arnold Palmer Invitational and why a hand-picked representative of Sunday Red found his way into his first PGA Tour victory this past weekend. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Three-pointer, punch it in!
We're taking March Madness to the next level. Join our bracket challenge at ESPNPC.com to compete with the ESPN Northwest Florida listeners and staff. The top 3 brackets win cash and prizes. Join the madness at ESPNPC.com. The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge is sponsored by PCB Hobby, Pepsi, and Panama City Toyota.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Monday. The rest of the day, some sun and 62 with a moderate breeze out of the north-northwest around 17 miles per hour. Tonight, clear skies with lows around 54. Tomorrow, sunny with a light breeze and a temperature near 69. Moving into Wednesday, about the same with a high of 70 and sunny. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable buildings. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
We're betting the limit and covering the spread.
Viva Las Vegas!
The Inside Drive with Ryan and Jay.
Thank you. Nice to be in Vegas.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We spent some time last week talking about the Arnold Palmer Invitational, another signature event there on the PGA Tour. And as we like to call him here on the show, Cousin Russell Henley, the Georgia Bulldog alum, got the victory shooting a 2-under par final round yesterday. And I talked about hole 16, not only on the Two Off the Tee podcast, but when we were talking about the DraftKings lineups on Wednesday with Keith Fleming. It's also Keith's birthday today, so happy birthday, Keith. 16 proved to be huge for Russell Henley, who went out in his front nine on Sunday with a 1-over par 37 and then found himself 2 over par on his round after the 10th hole when he made a bogey. And then his final 7 holes, he played in 4 under par to basically get him the 1-stroke lead. But on 16, that's where it pretty much got him the tournament. After a great tee shot, he hit his second shot, only had 156 yards in on that short par 5, hit exactly where he needed to off the tee, and then missed the green just off to the right and ended up chipping in for eagle, which ended up basically putting him into the lead that point over Colin Morikawa, who Colin Morikawa couldn't do any better than even par on Sunday with a 35 on the front and then shot a 1 over on the backside to lose to Russell Henley by 1. Russell Henley brought home a cool $4 million from this particular signature event and was looking pretty good down the stretch, no doubt. And quick update on the FedEx Cup standings. Sepp Straka, the Austrian, continues to lead as he's had a fantastic season thus far, and someone we'll likely talk about with the Players' Championship coming up this week. Russell Henley skyrockets up to number 2, Ludwig Aubert number 3, Hideki Matsuyama number 4, and with his second place finish in the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Colin Morikawa moves up to number 5. Obviously, the FedEx Cup standings go all the way through, and there's the way they do these. I don't want to call it a reseeding, but if you're in the top 10 of the FedEx Cup, that's another way to get into the next signature event if you're not already qualified a different way. And then, like I was mentioning, there wasn't just the Arnold Palmer Invitational going on, because anytime they have these two signature events, or these signature events, there's usually another tournament. I would say not a huge tournament, but this was the Puerto Rico Open down over there in Puerto Rico, and Carl Phillips ended up winning that one with a 26 under par total with a final round 64. But what makes Carl Phillips interesting is he was a hand-picked player to be a wearer, the only other wearer of Sunday Red. That's Tiger Woods' new brand that TaylorMade put out earlier this year, or last, actually. But Carl Phillips had a fantastic tournament, 65, 67, 66, 64. But a big win, obviously, for him, his first PGA Tour win. Gets $720,000 and 300 FedEx Cup points for that victory. But being more talked about because he was handpicked by Tiger Woods to wear Sunday Red, and only in his 4th start on the PGA Tour gets his first victory. So obviously Tiger saw something in Mr. Phillips that a lot of other people may not have seen. So, but I thought that was a pretty cool story. In addition to the Arnold Palmer Invitational, is the winner from the Puerto Rico Open is a Tiger Woods brand member. Not to be confused with Slazenger, but yeah. So congratulations to Carl. I think that earns him, not 100%, don't quote me on it, but I think that earns him an invitation to the Masters. I know when Ashke Biate won the tournament in the Bahamas, that didn't get him one. Hopefully this one gets Mr. Phillips. I know Tiger would love that, to have somebody else in the Masters wearing that Sunday red. Blades Brown, who's the 17-year-old, he did not make the cut in this particular event, but you did have another amateur that was playing in it that finished top 5, Kieran Van Wyk, W-Y-K. So good stuff there. It looks like he's a South African. A lot of players get these opportunities. And the Noah Goodwin, who's another young man, he one of the former members at Bay Point. That's actually their nephew, and he's made the PGA Tour this year. And when you have these signature events, a lot of these guys get to play in the off events. Obviously, they're not playing for nearly as much money. But $720,000, not a bad week's worth of work.
I watched about as little of a golf tournament as you can watch and still see the winner. I watched the final 2 putts from each player. I saw like an update that Russell Henley was making a charge or whatever, so I turned it over there thinking I'm about to watch the 16th and 17th hole. Yeah. And no, they're on the 18th green.
So the notification wasn't exactly timely.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't timely. And I was watching the race, and the race still had about 120 or so laps. So I was like, all right, I'll switch it over there to golf and watch the end of it. And it was Colin Morikawa, or actually Henley had to make like a 45-foot putt for birdie and outright win, and left it about 3.5 feet away from the hole. So Morikawa had a shot, and he just pushed it right on by.
That's it. Russell Henley's career includes 296 events played, and he's won 5 PGA Tour events now. And his official earnings on the PGA Tour are at $37,473,215 for the Georgia Bulldog, who, what year did he turn pro? Back in 2011. That's, wow. Man, time is going fast. He's been in the league for a long league. He's been on the PGA Tour now for a long time. My guy... what was his name? Max Gracerman just did not have a good weekend. Obviously made the cut, but then shot 75. That's 3 over par, and then an even par final round. He did get it to 3 under par in the final round on the front 9, but ended up finishing his back 9 with 3 birdies, and then his final 4 holes, he bogeyed 3 out of the 4. So maybe the pressure kind of got to him a little bit, and that big time money you can earn in these signature events. So he still had a top 25, which is pretty solid there on the PGA Tour. But again, we got coming up this week, that is the Players Championship right down the road. Kind of down the road, I-10, just hop on, head over there to Ponte Vedra Beach, the St. Augustine area, and just a tough golf course, a diabolical golf course there that we'll see how the boys handle. I know the weather for the weekend is looking to be absolutely brutal. Saw some posts about that this morning, so that'll make a even harder golf course, a tougher golf course even harder, and see how these guys can fare in what is also basically another signature event with a smaller field and all that stuff. But
you forgot about the best tour. The Live Tour, didn't they have a tournament this weekend?
They did.
Sergio Garcia, I believe.
The Regripper one, huh?
I'm not sure if he ended up winning. I just know that I had it on the Live Tour for a few minutes, and
on Fox Sports 2.
Yeah, it was on Fox Sports 2. Yeah, and he looked to have a nice sizable lead there too.
Let's take a gander. Yes, Sergio Garcia, 18 under par. He shot 7 under in the 3rd and final round to bring home, I believe the individual prize is $4 million, which is ironic. That's what they pay first place in the signature events as well. And then his team also won first place, the Fireballs Golf Club, which is him, Abraham Ancer, Luis Massavo, and David Puig with 37 under par. They're a 1-stroke lead over the Stinger Golf Club. So it sounds like Sergio would have won probably somewhere between $5 and $6 million.
I mean,
Not too bad.
Do you think he could still be doing this at the tour level? I mean, with the way that the leagues are split up, like who's to say which side really has the better golfers?
That's kind of the ongoing argument, and there were some players on the LIV Tour talking about, they're playing for a lot of money week in and week out, so the competition is obviously very fierce. Now, yeah, they're playing one round less than the PGA Tour, but yeah, and there's a LIV Golf Tour event coming to our great state of Florida here in a couple weeks, right before the Masters tournament. That'll be at Trump Doral down there in Miami, the Blue Monster, April 4th through 6th. So I know there's some people in this area that made the trip last year that said it was a lot of fun. But hey, to each his own, and it's a beautiful thing is you can choose which tour you want to watch, and now you can actually watch both tours on national networks and not the CW. Leave the CW alone.
Hey, you can watch NASCAR Xfinity Series on the CW.
Ah, there you go. CW is still trying to stay in the game.
In the sports game, yeah.
Yeah, hey, which isn't bad. All right, I know you mentioned NASCAR, and I know you got RJ coming up this afternoon, but you pretty much called it when we left the show last Friday. Who was it going to be that won? You were like, is Christopher Bell going to win again? Is William Byron going to win? But guess what? Christopher Bell, his third win in a row.
Yeah, all at different tracks, too, with Phoenix just being a mile long. He had one at the Super Speedway in Atlanta and then one at the road track over there in Coda. And yesterday was a little bit different because they had the tires and like the regular Goodyear tires, and then they had the option tires, which are a little bit softer as well. So that, played a role in teams having their crew chiefs and what kind of decisions they make along the way. So that made the race a little bit more interesting. You also had Catherine Legg in that, and she was she's a woman driver, and she is the first woman driver in a Cup Series race in like 7 years or so. She had a couple of spin outs. Ended up ruining the day for Daniel Suarez as well, but she finished the race. And yeah, Christopher Bell, man, just not even 30 years old, wins 3 out of 4 races, is having himself a heck of a season, but still a long ways to go here in the NASCAR season.
Hey, but, winning some races early on, get those points up there, and makes it a little easier down the rest of the way. William Byron is actually still leading the points at 165, Christopher Bell at 152, Tyler Reddick at 143, Ryan Blaney at 136, and rounding out the top 5 is Chase Elliott at 124. Looks like Christopher Bell has led by far the most laps so far this season at 114. It looks like he led for 105 in this race in Phoenix yesterday. So good stuff from Christopher Bell to start out the season. He led 114 laps. Oh, wait, no, that's the standings I was just looking at. Results. There we go. He read 105 is what I think it read. Yeah, 105. Denny Hamlin led 3, and Kyle Larson, Josh Berry, Chris Buescher, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, and Chase Elliott round out your top 10 from yesterday's race at Phoenix. But only getting heated up and getting going now. I know, again, if you want to have more detailed NASCAR coverage, you can listen to the Afternoon Underdogs Monday at 4:20 to listen to RJ Starchevich and go around the track, because I like listening to that because I learned a lot in that particular segment, and always good to hear what's going on in NASCAR. Our friend Jay's a big NASCAR fan as well, so I'm sure he was excited for Christopher Bell to get the dub yesterday. Let's see. I do want to talk about some local stuff, but I want to get back. I didn't get a chance to hit it earlier and talk about the SEC tournament.
If you're coming back to college basketball, the AP poll just dropped.
Did it? Is Alabama moved up to?
We're not worried about Alabama right now, but Duke is back at number 1. I don't know how to feel about that one, man. Like they played North Carolina, which North Carolina's having a tough season. They could be a tournament team possibly, but I don't know if that's losing.
Auburn dropped to 3rd.
So what they put Houston up to 2? Yeah, Houston's at 2.
Yep.
That I don't know how I feel about that going into the final week of the season. I mean, not that it's just the reality of, is it because they lost twice this week with Texas A&M and Alabama? But, I mean, they took Alabama that was an overtime game. You lose on a buzzer beater to one of the best players in college basketball this year.
Yeah, no doubt. That's interesting to see.
But I think if you're Auburn, that bodes well for you because now Bruce Pearl can, we got to call God a little bit more.
Yep, a little more poster newspaper material there, dropping 2 spots in the AP poll. Again, most likely still going to be the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, which is interesting as that doesn't really line up with the AP poll. But hey, that's why the press has theirs, and the committee will get the basketball set out as well. But yes, Duke number 1, Houston rises to number 2, Auburn drops 2 spots to number 3, only gets 4 first place votes, and then Florida at number 4, Alabama moves up 2 spots to number 5, St. John 6, Michigan State, the Big Ten champions, regular season champions, at 7. Tennessee drops 4 spots to number 8. Texas Tech, number 9. Clemson rounding out the top 10, moving up a spot to number 10. Followed by Maryland, Iowa State, Louisville, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Memphis, BYU, Wisconsin, St. Mary's, Purdue, Missouri, Michigan, Oregon, Illinois, and Marquette. Arizona and Mississippi State both dropping from the rankings. But getting back to that SEC, first round gets underway this Wednesday, March 12th. It'll start with game 1. That'll be 16th seed South Carolina versus number 9 seed Arkansas. Then you've got game 2, number 13 seed Texas against number 12 seed Vanderbilt. Game 3, number 15 seed LSU versus number 10 seed Mississippi State. And then your final first round game, which will be the nightcap on Wednesday evening, number 14 Oklahoma against number 11 Georgia. Second round, Ole Miss will await the winner of the South Carolina-Arkansas game. Texas A&M will await the winner of the Vanderbilt-Texas game. Missouri awaits the winner of the LSU-Mississippi State game. And then Kentucky and will await the winner of Oklahoma and Georgia. Auburn and Alabama are on opposite sides of the bracket, so you could have a rubber match in the SEC championship, which obviously would certainly be a wild and fun game. Tennessee, the number 4 seed, Florida, the number 2 seed, and like I said, Alabama, the number 3 seed. So it could be Florida going against Alabama and Auburn against Tennessee if, they win their quarterfinal game against whoever makes it through. So yeah, some good stuff there out of the SEC. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, especially if we get an Alabama-Auburn rubber match in the in the SEC championship. But again, we've talked about this before. How many games do you want to play in this SEC tournament? Especially if you're already knowing you're 1 in the tournament, or 2 knowing you're you're a number 1 seed, which likely Auburn and Florida will be, along with.
When do we start seeing opt-outs?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I hope never.
Not players, just like coaches saying we're going to opt out of the SEC tournament.
Oh, I mean, in this day and age in sports, I wouldn't be surprised. Hopefully never, just because for the love of the game. And, like you said last week, too, like you still want to play and win. You don't want to get away from what you've worked hard on all season. So, obviously, every time you step on the floor, there's a big risk that somebody can get injured. But, winning an SEC tournament title, too, is obviously a big feat, especially this year. Obviously, I think winning the regular season SEC championship is a little bit tougher than winning the tournament because you've only got to win, if you're a top 4 seed, you only got to win 3 games to bring home the trophy. But the regular season, you got to go through the entire group of the SEC. But we'll keep you posted on all the tournaments, all the brackets, and everything going down as it is conference championship week. And as David said, we've got multiple games that'll be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We got to go take a quick break. Our final segment of this Monday afternoon will be up next. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Bill Allen, Greg Winicki, 2 experts that really run Tallahassee and Florida State Athletic Department.
Declare for the draft, but if nobody declares they
I want to ask you both real quick.
You got to go somewhere else.
He comes on there and he says, I'll come under one condition, that each one of my offensive linemen gets paid X. There you go.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your pets are our priority at Southern Hospitality.
Professional in-home pet care to meet the needs of you and your pet.
Vacation pet care, dog walking, adventure hikes, wedding pet attendant, and more.
Southern Hospitality experienced team provides a safe, nurturing, and stimulating environment your pet will thrive in.
You'll even receive reports with photos and real-time updates of each visit.
Talk to Southern Hospitality? Call us now, 850-805-7387.
Bonded and insured.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
Bendian's Best Moves is a local moving company in Panama City, providing reliable services to the families and businesses in our community. Coveted for the long list of services they provide, experts at what they do, and they do it all from start to finish. The pros at Bendian's Best Moves have moved doctors, attorneys, pastors, schools, small businesses, the federal government, and they can move you too. For the best moving experience, it's Bendian's Best Moves. Call now, 850-583-0814.
From the fairway to the rough.
Was hoping to squeeze in 9 holes before this rain starts.
From the greens to the bunker.
Certainly, Your Eminency.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan and Jay.
The good Lord would never disrupt the best game upon life.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. All this college basketball talk should be getting you excited for the NCAA March Madness. That is the tournament. But you want to be involved in the tournament? Head over to ESPNPC.com. Click that little red box in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see the ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge. Click on that link, then click on Click Here. It's screaming at you with very obvious words, Click Here, and that'll take you to the current ESPN Northwest Florida group that is going to feature the Big Bracket Challenge. You can also invite friends and coworkers by sharing the particular link to that group with them, as it is a public group, and anybody can join, and anybody can win some cash and prizes if you finish 1, 2, or 3. And again, we appreciate Pepsi, Panama City Toyota, and PCB Hobby with sponsoring this contest, as I'm looking forward to seeing what goes down with the NCAA tournament, see how well everybody can do, because it's always good to have some competition. It kind of adds to the allure of an already exciting event with so many big games and so much fun. David, I'm going to dive through the ACC, Big Ten, and probably the Big 12 if I can get it to pull up correctly. But the ACC bracket starts with Notre Dame and Pitt on Game 1. That comes up on tomorrow, Tuesday the 11th at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone, followed by Virginia Tech and Cal, and then Florida State and Syracuse. Georgia Tech and Virginia will start the second round. North Carolina awaits the winner of Notre Dame and Pitt. Stanford, the number 7 seed, awaits the winner of Virginia Tech and Cal, and then SMU awaits the winner of Florida State and Syracuse. You've got number 1 seed Duke, number 4 seed Wake Forest, number 2 seed Louisville, and number 3 seed Clemson, all having byes into the quarterfinal. On the Big Ten side of things, you've got Northwestern and Minnesota, Iowa at Ohio State, USC and Rutgers, and then Indiana and Oregon. Wisconsin awaits the winner of Northwestern and Minnesota. Yes. And then Illinois awaits the winner of Ohio State and Iowa, and then Purdue awaits the winner of USC and Rutgers. What would you say the next best conference is? Obviously, the SEC is hands down way above all these other conferences, but in your mind, in your opinion, what do you think the next best conference is in college basketball?
I think when it comes to watching a conference tournament, my next most intriguing for me would be the Big 12, especially just to kind of see how Houston works their way through that tournament. I would say that it's hard for me to sit here and say anything, strongly about it because I just started watching college basketball 2 or 3 weeks ago. So to give people a real, passionate answer, I don't believe in my answer, but I would say the Big Ten because I think Michigan State, I think that they've got some good balance across the board compared to the ACC with Michigan State. Wisconsin's been playing good. Michigan's, here and there. Ohio State probably going to be one of the last teams out. But I think that there's more intrigue there for the Big Ten for me. But I guess I would have to say after the SEC, I'll stick with it. I'll say SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12.
All right, I like it. I think I'd probably throw Big 12 in there number 2, but based on their website and their lack of putting the teams into the bracket, I'm going to knock them down to number 4 like you did as well. SEC did a good job. ACC has a great website. Big 10 has a good one as well. But, for some reason, the Big 12, they're slacking. They've just got all the seeds, but that doesn't – I don't want to have to look at the standings and then have to try to fill them in, so I need you to do a better job, Big 12 and Phillips 66 with your sponsoring of the championship there for the Big 12. But
I got the games here if you want me to.
Yeah, if you would. Just, the first, second, and then whoever. Yeah.
So starting it off tomorrow at 11:30 a.m., you got 13 Cincinnati, 12 Oklahoma State, then 16 Colorado, 9 TCU, 15 Arizona State at 10 Kansas State, 14 UCF at 11 Utah. And then it would go on to Iowa State's got a bye, West Virginia's got a bye, and as soon as I clicked on that, it took me to all of the all of the conference tournament games. So Iowa State, West Virginia have that first round bye there.
Nice. And then, of course, the top 4 seeds have byes into the quarterfinals, also like the Big Ten, ACC, and SEC. As these conferences evolve, this is the first year where you've got a lot of new matchups when it comes to those conference realignments. So
Baylor and Kansas have the next bye. So Cincinnati, Oklahoma State will go on to play Iowa State. Colorado, TCU will go on to play West Virginia. Arizona State, Kansas State will go on to play Baylor. UCF and Utah will go on to play Kansas. And then your top 4 seeds are number 4, BYU. Watch out for them. They could be a dark horse. Number 1, Houston. Number 2, Texas Tech. And number 3, Arizona.
Which,
Iowa State, all of the success that they had, and then to drop to the 5th seed, that's why I guess, actually, I would have to say the Big 12 is the second best conference overall. Something about Michigan State when it comes tournament time, which they're not going to carry the whole conference on their back, but you can't discredit Tom Izzo in March.
No, especially I think he set the record, I believe, for most wins in Big Ten history this season.
Yeah,
not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
All right. Let's look at some conference favorites again, moving right off of Hard Rock. Obviously, Auburn, a heavy favorite in the SEC tournament at plus 150, followed by Florida at plus 275. So you're getting plus value on both of those. And then the Alabama Crimson Tide, who won the SEC tournament last year, are at a little over 4-1 at plus 425, followed by Tennessee at plus 600, Kentucky at plus 2,000, Texas A&M at plus 2,500, Missouri at plus 2,500, and then it goes all the way down to South Carolina at plus 50,000.
Kentucky at plus 2,000.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad value at all right there, because really until you get to Missouri, and even Missouri is a team that could win the SEC tournament.
Absolutely.
All of those teams are viable. I'm stuck in between Tennessee or Kentucky.
Yeah.
Which of those two teams, with the value included there, would I rather put my money on? Which, shoot, if it's little money, it would be Kentucky. If it's, a decent size, then I guess I'd go Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely some good value there. Moving over to the ACC, not good value and just kind of shows the strength of the conference. Duke Blue Devils minus 325 to win the ACC tournament. Obviously, being a top seed, they start in the quarterfinals, would only need to win 3 games to win the ACC championship. Followed by the Louisville Cardinals at plus 550, then the Clemson Tigers at plus 700, and then it jumps up drastically to North Carolina at plus 3,000, SMU at plus 6,000, Wake Forest at plus 7,500, Pitt at plus 25,000, and everybody else plus 25,000 all the way through the rest of the conference, going through Virginia Tech. So if those betting odds don't show you how much weaker the ACC is than the SEC, I don't know what else to tell you. Moving over to the Big 12, the Houston Cougars are minus 120, followed by the Texas Tech Red Raiders at 425. I like the value of Iowa State at plus 700, 7-1 to win the Big 12 conference tournament, and they're a top 4 seed. So again, we only need to win 3 games. Moving over the Big 10.
Wait, with who? Iowa State?
Yeah, Iowa State.
They're a 5th seed.
5th seed, so they got to win 4. Okay, so they're plus 700. So they're not even a top 4 seed, and they're got 3rd best odds to win the conference tournament according to Hard Rock. Moving over to the Big 10, Michigan State plus 250. Maryland plus 350, Purdue plus 650, Wisconsin 650, UCLA 650, Illinois at 750, and then it jumps up drastically to Michigan at plus 1,200, followed by Oregon at plus 3,000, Indiana at plus 6,000, Ohio State and beyond, all the way up to Minnesota at plus 50,000. Did I get them all?
I'm not sure. Are you talking about all conferences?
No, not all conferences, just the ones we've been talking about.
Well, we do have the Sun Belt Championship tonight, Arkansas State versus Troy, and that'll be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Tip-off is at 6 p.m., so you can listen to that game right here.
Very, very cool. All right, going on to the NCAA tournament winners. The odds have slid a little bit for Auburn and Duke. Duke is up now to the tournament favorite at plus 325. Auburn now at plus 375, followed by Florida at plus 700, Houston 750, Alabama at plus 1,100, Tennessee at plus 1,500, Michigan State plus 2,000, St. John's plus 2,000. I think I like that one there a little bit, and Iowa State plus 2,500. I wonder if this AP poll with Auburn dropping to, obviously they still have the best net rankings and Ken Palm and all that stuff, but with them dropping to number 3 in the AP poll will affect the National Player of the Year odds at all. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see.
That was a silent shoulder shrug back here from me. I'm seeing Paul Feinbaum is debating if the SEC would prefer to add North Carolina and Virginia over Clemson and FSU, and that kind of caught my eye, and so I'm trying to dig into this.
That's a good one. That's a good one, that's for sure. All right, real quick, if I got enough time, let me go over to Max Preps. And I know we have a few games tonight. We got a ton tomorrow, as Tuesdays always seems to be a little more wild. We got 2 baseball games and a girls' flag football game for our listening area. Bozeman traveling to Bay. The 10-1 Bozeman Bucks traveling to take on the 8-3 Bay Tornadoes. Should be a great game over there at Bay High at 6:30 p.m. this evening. And then the Donaldson Christian Academy is taking on South Walton. That might be a tournament because Donaldson Christian Academy is 0-1, and obviously South Walton with their big win last week against Arnold is now 8-1. And then on girls flag football, you got the Destin High. We follow that team. Coach Josh Woodham is doing a great job with that program. They're now 5-2. They did end up being runner-up in their tournament over at Tallahassee this past weekend. They'll be taking on 6-0 Choctawhatchee. So that'll be if anybody wants to go over to Choctawhatchee and watch a really fun girls flag football game, that would be certainly a one to do with 2 great teams there. I was going to say teeing it up tonight, but that's probably not the right phrase. But again, before I leave today, I want to remind you one more time, head over to ESPNPC.com. Upper right-hand corner, you'll find that red square with the 3 white lines. Click on that, then click on ESPN Northwest Florida's Big Bracket Challenge. It'll take you to ESPN's fantasy app. If you don't have that, it'll just take you to the website, and you can join that group to play along with the fun. Coverage starts Sunday, March 16th for Selection Sunday at 5 p.m. Men's bracket first, women's bracket then second. Join that group, sponsored by Panama City Toyota, PCB Hobby, and Pepsi. And if you finish top 3, you'll win some cash and prizes. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. We'll be back tomorrow for Tuesday. We'll have Doc A and Brad Law joining us tomorrow. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4 p.m. We appreciate you hanging out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open